Hey guys, this is Alexa Ray Corriea here at GameSpot. I am here with Microsoft Studios executive producer Mark Coates, and we are playing Ori and the Blind Forest. So, why are we in the forest to begin with? What is the backstory here? Yes. What am I up against?
Yeah. So, the story is a really important part of the game. So basically, Ori is this allegorical tale of self-discovery, self-sacrifice, and you play the role of Ori, a forest spirit. And as you control him and adventure through the game, you're trying to help him fulfill his destiny, a destiny that he's not even really fully aware of. But at the beginning of the game, what you come to learn is that this mother character that has sort of taken you in grows ill. And the forest around you also grows ill. There's sort of this intrusion of poison and decay. And so you start to notice that in the forest, and then your mother figure kind of takes ill to the point where you need to strike out on your own to try to fix things. And that's why it takes place in the forest. The overarching goal is to sort of restore order back to and balance back to the forest. But along the way, you find many more nuanced elements of the story and characters.
And I'm playing as Ori right now. That is Ori.
Yeah, so the small little wife forest spirit is Ori. And then you've already picked up Sign, which is another entity. So the small glowing orb that kind of circles Ori and protects him when you press the X button, that's Sign, that's another entity. And he becomes your sidekick throughout the entire adventure. He kind of fills you in on some of the interesting background story of the forest and kind of helps you on your way. This kind of game, it's an action-adventure platforming game, right? You can tell that just by looking at it. But it's also got some progressive elements to it in terms of as you progress through the game, you earn and obtain new abilities, which basically provide you with new game mechanics and that then informs the level design and creates new challenges for you. So if you think about games, some people call this style of game Metroidvania. So Ori is a Metroidvania style game where while you start out small and weak, by the time you finish the game, you're actually pretty powerful and sort of like a badass character, right? At this stage of the game, you're still relatively weak. If you look at the gauge on the bottom, first of all, we tried to keep the user interface very minimal, to just kind of focus on the striking graphics and presentation of the game. But at the very bottom of your screen, the orb in the middle, as you destroy or defeat different enemies, you'll sometimes will grab these experience orbs, and that gauge will fill up, and when it entirely fills up, you'll gain 1 experience point. So the game features 2 different ways that you power up. One is through abilities that you obtain, that you actually find in the game, and the other is by applying these experience points along a skill tree to kind of enhance the capabilities of your character. That way you can kind of customize the way that Ori plays based upon the way that you like to play the game. To either side of the experience gauge, you'll see these other colored orbs. On the green side is sort of like your life containers. So in the game, you'll find these green energy orbs which will replenish your life. And sometimes you'll actually find these larger green orbs which are sort of like life containers. So as you travel through the game, you start out with just 2 life containers and a very small, therefore, life gauge. By the time you finish the game, you can have, I think, 9 of these, so you'll be much more powerful and durable.
Wow. What games did you draw, or what places did you draw inspiration from when you were putting Ori together?
Yeah, so from a lot of different places. I mean, I think this style of game goes way back into deep, sort of classical gaming. Probably first brought around by companies like Nintendo and Sega. When you think about games like Super Mario Brothers, these classic platforming adventures, Sonic, games like Metroid, Castlevania, etc. Those are certainly inspirational in terms of the type of game that we wanted to make. Moon Studios, they'll often talk about some of their visual inspiration coming from animated films. So if you think about companies like and creators like Studio Ghibli, some other Japanese anime creators, Even companies like Disney and Pixar, these are things that really kind of struck a chord with Moon Studios, and they wanted to create a game that, yes, had very tight, precise platforming controls, because it all starts from there, but was presented in this way that had sort of modern day treatment to visual fidelity and animation. And so in the game, you have these really vivid, beautiful, tight, highly crafted, almost hand-drawn like imagery. And then you also have this like silky smooth animation that really goes well together. And then technically, the team's done a lot of work working directly with Unity, which the game is built upon, the Unity engine, to create some new technology that allows content to be continuously streamed and rendered. So as you're making your way through the world and from level to level, there's virtually no load times whatsoever. It's just constantly streaming. And this adds to that whole kind of vision that they had to kind of create this almost movie-like experience, this cinema-like experience. We think they've been really successful in doing that, and we're really proud of what we've come up with. But we're excited to kind of put it in the hands of folks like you to really kind of be the judge of that.
And this is okay. So this is the ability tree. This is what I was trying to look at earlier.
Yeah, this is the skill tree. Yep. So yeah, you can see like right now you're kind of highlighting elements along the skill tree where as you gain additional experience points, right now you have none, but if you add some, you can see that you can invest them along these different lines of skill. And so the bottom one is sort of more oriented towards offensive capabilities. The very top one is more oriented towards what I would call defensive capabilities. And then the middle one sort of is almost like these supplemental or facilitative kind of line of development. So for example, it'll enable you later to get an extra double jump, for example. Or nice. It'll make it so that when you pick up life, you get more life than normal. Or when you use some of your energy orbs to like save the game, it costs you less. And so what we found is that different people like to play the game in different ways. And so if you're more offensive minded, then you might want to develop your character along the offensive line. If you're more defensive minded, along the defensive line. And so you can you have a little bit of an ability to kind of customize the capability of Ori according to your liking.
Well, thank you very much for showing me Ori and the Blind Forest. Now this comes out very, very soon, I hear.
Yes, so the game will be coming out on March 11th, 2015. So yeah, we're literally within just a couple of months now of finally getting it into the hands of the fans.
And this is for Xbox One and PC?
Yes, yep, it'll come out Xbox One and PC simultaneously.
Okay guys, well I'm going to go back to trying to climb up this wall and tune into GameSpot for all of your news and previews.